Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the third app that I just launched called WP API Explorer. But more importantly, I want to show you how I've been building these apps with Bolt and give you some opportunity, I think, for WordPress freelancers. I don't think AI is going to take all the jobs yet. And if you are in that nervous camp, I think there are some opportunities that you can be taking advantage of, at least in the short term before the stuff gets, I guess, really good and doing stuff more natively in operating systems and developers inside of their preferred IDEs. I'm going to show you how to use Bolt and extend WordPress for your clients and give you this new opportunity. So WP API Explorer, just as an example, you punch in a WordPress URL and it extracts information that's openly available from WordPress default API. This is something that is very common discussion inside of things like headless WordPress. This was a craze when I was running my agency about 7-ish years ago. Ran an agency for a decade. One of the things we were tasked to do quite often is to build a headless system, whatever that headless system means to the customer, and then have WordPress as the content management system of choice in the back end. I think with things like Bolt and other AI solutions, you can rapidly prototype this stuff pretty quick, and you might be able to find new opportunities with your existing WordPress work and your existing clients to build these solutions on top of WordPress. That's what we're going to demonstrate with Bolt today. Use my Bolt link in the description or in the comments, wherever you're watching this. It's a little referral link. You'll get some tokens. I'll get some tokens, and it doesn't cost you anything. I would really appreciate it. Check out that link below. So I've always found Bolt to be really good at UI and building out these MVPs quite quickly, or one-page apps quite quickly. Very nice, very efficient. I always find it to be a pretty good experience. Let's go ahead and prompt our way to success here. This might be a longer video because I'm trying not to cut out the stuff that's happening behind the scenes so you can kind of see everything end to end. All right, so let me start with this prompt. Let's build a React app that uses Tailwind for styling to ingest content from a WordPress REST API for showcasing a tech blog site. It's not the best English, but that's what we're going to roll with. I'm just going to prompt this. I'm just going to send this in. I'm testing this now for the first time, so we'll see what it does. Let's go ahead and send that prompt through and see what it does. The idea now is to build ourselves a React app that's pulling in the content from WordPress and displaying it in this React app without even any kind of like user authentication or any database. It's saying, hey, WordPress has a REST API available. Let's pull that data in through the API and display it here in our React app. And then we can do all kinds of different things for our React app. When I was running my agency, one of our top line customers was a medical company that was building mobile apps and web apps for research information for the medical field. And they use WordPress in the back end as the content management of choice because it's great for writing content, having user access roles and all that stuff. It's all baked in, right? And using WordPress as that behind the scenes content management system and then deploying all that content to the hospitals and doctors' offices around their network, I guess, for lack of a better word. So we can see Bolt has done some stuff. It says a responsive homepage that displays blog posts in a grid layout, individual posts with full content, modern UI. I already know what it's doing here. It's saying failed to fetch posts. I know why. Let's go into the code editor of this app and find the section of, well, actually, let's just prompt our way to that. Where is the WordPress URL for the REST API? So I know what it's doing. It's erroring out because it's trying to either use an unknown URL, or in this case, it looks like it's trying to pull in TechCrunch, and TechCrunch is either has that throttled or it's just way too much information for it to pull in. So we can see right here that it is available inside the API.ts file. So let's find that. And let's go ahead and put in my URL to my website. So we'll highlight that. the wpminute.com. We'll leave in the rest. The full URL path is wp-json/wp/v2. And then we'll save that. One of the great things with Bolt, of course, obviously, as you're prompting your way to building an app, it's also a code editor. And then they also have another feature where you can deploy this into their original idea and the parent company or parent product called StackBlitz, which then will sync up to GitHub and stuff like that. So we've put my URL in there. Let's just take a look. This is the wpminute.com. This is the Cadence theme, and all of this information is available on that REST API. So we've saved it, and now let's preview it. We'll refresh this. And now you can see right here, it's pulling in all of that content in, whatever X amount of files this is a home page, a post page, the API, the app, and the index. This is all pretty small in terms of a footprint, right? And this is the essence of headless. It's saying, hey, build some other front end, but use WordPress as that back end. And that that REST API is beautiful. And that's the first thing I want you to hopefully get encouraged by. And not all end all for WordPress just yet. WordPress is still a fine content management system, and you can actually use it in all of its publishing glory to build stuff on the front end. It doesn't have to be just posts. You could be making really complex data sets with custom post types, custom fields, and really the limit is your imagination. I do want to throw a caveat out here that, when you're building React apps and you're using AI, the biggest argument these days is, well, you should know what you're doing, and you should know what you're doing. And maybe in a mission critical setting, this isn't the best place for you to be experimenting. But if you have somebody on your team that really knows React, JavaScript, and all this stuff, maybe this is a fantastic way for you to build these concepts out to improve the opportunities for your agency or your freelance business to survive here in this AI world. So we just hover over and we can just see we have the 10 recent posts in my API. If we click read more, it's going to pull that content in and we can read it right here in our browser. Again, all of this stuff accessed through the REST API. It doesn't pull in my Transistor podcast embed or the YouTube embed if I have a video here, and that's okay. Maybe there's things that we can do to prompt our way to that success. But let's just start to fine tune a few things on how I would be developing an app. Let's add a header and a footer. And I'm just going to talk to it fairly organically. So I'm going to say, let's add a header with an about page and a contact page. This header will be sticky as the user scrolls the content, and also add a footer with a copyright message with the same page links as above. Now we're going to add one more feature to this. On the home page, use the categories available in the REST API to build a clickable faceted search so that the visitor can browse content in multiple categories. So I do apologize for bringing you on the slow train of writing and speaking out loud. But again, I'm trying to give you the full experience. And this is now, I've requested sort of 3 major features here. I've requested, well, not major, but in the sense of giving it directions. I've given it the direction to build a header, a footer, a header that stays sticky as you scroll. So we'll test that out to see if that works. And then I'm pulling in the categories from my REST API, displaying that on the home page so that I can give that option to the user to say, hey, look, click on these categories and now different content will appear. We're a few minutes into this video. What I might start doing is cutting this stuff out so you don't have to see the whole trail of code and stuff like that being written. There's something really important here, and I'm actually kind of proud that Bolt is doing this, because oftentimes what will happen is you'll see all these different files. So it's created all these different components for the header, the footer, of course, the pages for the about page, contact page, home page. But sometimes if you're using AI, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned so far is if you start building something really complex, like the WP API Explorer app that I built, the podcast downloader.cc, pulsewp.cc. These are the three major apps that I've built. What I've often found is sometimes AI will just continue to build a big file for the app, especially if it's a JavaScript heavy app. And you can often get to thousands of lines of code until you start telling it to break this stuff out into multiple components. It's very good that you workshop your idea early on in that initial prompt and tell it that you want that sort of scalability and broken into components methodology first and foremost, because it sometimes can be a real pain to actually ask it to extract the content, or the code later from one big file and then start to break it out into components. It's doable, it just takes more time. So really good that Bolt is already doing that. And here we have our header is up there now, tech blog, home, about, contact. It's sticky when I scroll. We have a nice footer with the home, about, contact footer at the bottom. By the way, you saw me use the word Tailwind before, this CSS framework design method for creating these apps, and that's all of the design essence that it's pulling out here. And then we have our clickable categories. So if I click on automatic, that'll sort it through the automatic categories, the core categories, automatic and core. So look at that. If I uncheck that, that'll remove the tags with automatic in it. And again, all of this content being pulled in from the REST API. Now, there are probably some smart things to do, like cache results so that it's faster and snappier. You can prompt your way to that success as well if you want. But what all of this exercise does, if you're new to this and maybe you're a power user, you kind of had some development chops like me, but you didn't quite have it all. This stuff is really liberating. It's really powerful, and it makes me feel like I can do some really cool things. And even if it's not a production ready kind of thing that you've built, you've been able to express your ideas or your concept more creatively, more intuitively, and you can share this with your team or your client to maybe then bring on the pros to build the rest of the solution. Okay, so we have our categories. Let's click into the read more and see if the header still sticks here, and it does. Fantastic. So let's just add another feature here where we tell the system to, when a user clicks on a featured image, create a TikTok-like effect where the user scrolls through the featured image with post title that links to the post to read. This gives the user the ability to scroll or swipe through content more efficiently. Again, apologize for the long stuff, but I want to show you everything. So now I'm just enhancing our feature set. I'm just taking it another step further to watch how Bolt does with some really basic prompts. And without giving it like so much detail, it's just me speaking organically. And it's sort of just deciphering that and then me playing with it and seeing if it's exactly what I wanted. Is this the essence of vibe coding? I don't know. Leave a comment below. If you like what you're seeing with Bolt, I really like Bolt. Use that link that I have in the description or in the comments so that you get some bonus credits. I get some bonus credits. Doesn't cost you anything to check out Bolt.new. Hopefully this stuff is starting to jog your inspiration for not giving up on WordPress just yet and seeing some potential in your agency or freelance space. Okay, so let's just take a look at what it says. I've added a TikTok-style image gallery with vertical scrolling, added the swiper library for smooth vertical scrolling. That'll be on mobile, of course. Updated postcard component to handle image clicks. All right, so it's built out all the necessary files. It's done it all in sort of components. So let's see what happens. When I click on a featured image, there it is. There's our full screen effect. Whoops. And if we click on, maybe this only works on mobile. So this is one of the things with Bolt is we can pull in or bring it down to that mobile view. And I can't quite swipe here, but it looks like it's working. Let me prompt again. Let's keep the TikTok feature, but also make it work on desktop. So it looks like it was getting the right thing. We saw the full scale image in the background. We saw the dots on the side that indicate the different posts that you'll be navigating through. But obviously it used that mobile swipe library. So that's going to be on a mobile device. Doesn't work too well on desktop, but let's see how it does. This part I might cut out because this one's kind of boring. So maybe we'll just connect back up right after this finishes. Okay, so it's finished. It's added some features for responsive layout, desktop navigation. Let's see what happens. Now we click on the featured image. And if I click on these dots, does that scroll it? Let's find out. It doesn't. Let's hover around. Oh, let me go back to. Oh, there it is. There's the arrows. So the arrows don't work. Let's see what happens. I see the arrows for left and right navigation on desktop, but it doesn't seem to be working. So again, each session of your AI vibe coding is, God, I hate that phrase too, is always going to be different. You're going to get different results. That's why, again, spending your time building your initial prompt, having a really good idea and feature set that you want is very important. Taking it slow, not giving it too many big features at once is another advantage. I'm just doing this stuff for demonstration. I've often really used chat apps like ChatGPT and Grok to grok my idea, to ask it, like, what if I do this? What if I do that? And then at the end of that conversation, I say, build me a prompt that I can use in Bolt. That's how I built part of Pulse WP. That's how I built a lot of WP API Explorer, asking it about showing some of these results from the WordPress REST API and my podcast downloader.cc app. I spent a lot of time in ChatGPT, like really brainstorming it to build me my prompts. Okay, let's click at featured image. Can we browse this now? There it is, beautiful. So sort of gallery-esque, and we could probably build out some more of that stuff if we wanted to. Very cool. So we've really enhanced this bespoke React app, this custom React app for a headless WordPress system. Again, haven't even touched WordPress. It's just pulling this stuff in. If you were like me, where you had a client in the medical field and they were using this WordPress site, it would be behind a firewall. There'd be some user authentication, some API authentication. So, you know, there's like a really technical part of this for a security standpoint that you definitely want to pay attention to if you're launching this stuff into production. But we're just brainstorming and we're just getting energized and invigorated by some of this stuff. Let's just add one more thing. Let's add let's do a few more things. Let's style the homepage in a more magazine-like layout where there are larger promoted articles and more categories on the homepage. Also, add a newsletter sign up on the homepage and in the footer, and after the blog posts on the post pages. You come up with a catchy call to action. Email call to actions, marketing, bucketing content, moving content around. This is stuff that I wish I could do much easier in WordPress. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, well, maybe I should just point the WP Minute to a custom React app on the front end and build everything in the content management system in the back end. My hosting fees would be lower. There'd be less worry about security exploits and all that stuff. But this is where hopefully the future of WordPress is going. Again, one of the biggest challenges with WordPress is can it stay as desirable in a world where we can build this stuff? I hope so, because as easy and fun as this sort of low priority kind of app that I'm building is to make, like it's great with Bolt, the WordPress side of it, user management, authentication, the database, the post structure, all of that stuff, it's already made for you in WordPress. That's why I think WordPress is a great fit for the opportunities that AI affords us. Okay, so there it is, our featured image, our featured post. This is the most recent post, nice and big. The next two posts, nice and big. And then we have our Great call to action. Stay ahead in tech. Join our community of tech enthusiasts. Really cool. We can click on that and start to, we can punch into that and prompt it for maybe a better design, a better layout for this input field. But now the rest of our stuff is categorized down below. I would have liked to seen like a business category and stuff like that. But these are the things that we can, again, I keep saying prompt our way to that success. We click into this article, we should see the email newsletter at the bottom of the post. There it is right there. Stay updated. Get the latest tech news delivered to your inbox. This has been a nice, fun experiment to show off to you. Again, leveraging what WordPress has to offer in a handful of custom JavaScript files. I'm sure those of you who are hardcore JavaScript developers who have built React apps before, who are Tailwind experts, are looking at this, pulling your hair out. And I agree with you. This is like the page builder days, the early page builder days, where standards were nowhere to be found. Short codes were all over the place. You're probably seeing this in code, but something tells me that all of these companies like Bolt know this, and they are going to improve the quality, the code quality, the standardization, et cetera, et cetera. Really fun stuff. Okay, last leg of this video is let's just deploy this. This is another great feature of Bolt, which I really like. If we deploy this, what Bolt will do is automatically deploy your app to Netlify. And you don't even need a Netlify account just yet. It's going to put it in like a temporary Netlify account. You'll see it right here. We can access this right in the browser. And here it is running on Netlify, and you can test this out. You can send this to your team, to your client. You can preview it for them and walk them through the paces, and then you can claim it right inside of your Netlify app. So if you sign up for a free Netlify account, by the way, I have been using them for a while now, 6 months, and even their free support is mind-blowingly good. I've asked them some really deep technical questions on like deployments and DNS configuration, and they've just gotten back to me within like under an hour, where some WordPress hosts that you pay like $100 a month don't respond to you for like a whole day. So kudos to Netlify. I don't know how they scale that or how they afford it, but they do great with their support, I must say. At least that's my experience so far. So then you would click to claim this link right here, and that would access it right inside of your free Netlify account, right? And then you can just add a domain to it. Again, that's what I did with the WP API Explorer app. This is running on Netlify, still on a free account. Obviously, this is not doing any kind of like traffic or any kind of like considerable traffic, but it's just a one-page app. I say one page, this is just one-page app, no database or anything like that. Netlify doesn't handle the database side. So speaking of database, you can see up here, there's a button called Connect to Supabase. This is another fantastic feature of Bolt. Once I got into this stuff, and especially for Pulse WP, where I'm saving a lot of this content in a database. So Pulse WP, if you haven't seen it, it's just an RSS reader. It's aggregating all of the content from important WordPress news sites and saving it inside of this Pulse app. I summarize it with AI, although looks like that feature is broken right now. I'll have to fix that. You can translate it right here. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. And then I have like some kind of marketing analysis stuff running in the back end. It requires a database. This has a user login, which you can't see, but Supabase, the configuration or the integration that Bolt has, will handle all of that stuff for you. So let's connect it up to Supabase and just see what happens when we do that. So if we go and say, make our newsletter call to action, store the email address in, I'm just going to say in Supabase. So a bunch of things are going to happen. It's going to start spinning up a Supabase connection. And obviously in this case, you'd probably want your newsletter to go to, ConvertKit, MailChimp, something like that. But for the example, for this example, I just want to show you how Bolt does the Supabase integration and then what that looks like. So this is going to take a little bit. I'm going to cut, and we'll come back when it's done coding all this stuff up. Okay, it finished coding it all up. Now it's prompted me to now select a database. I'm just going to select this database, which I already have. It's a tech test site. So we'll select this one, and we'll view it in Supabase. So it'll bring us right into this dashboard here on the Supabase side, and we'll take a look at the database, and we'll go into tables, and we'll see if it created the table. Yep, newsletter subscribers. This was from a previous test, actually, I should say. This was from a previous test. I'm just going to use the same database here, but it's going to have ID, email, source, and created at. So this is very straightforward, very easy to use. They have a whole user authentication system and all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to just click on Connect Project. It should process apply changes to our Supabase migration. So it's handling all that SQL, and it's sending it off to Supabase. That was from my earlier test. This is the new one, newsletter subscription. So newsletter_subscriptions and newsletter_subscriptions, right? So it's handling all of that SQL. So if you're creating a user authentication system, any other kind of database storage at a real simple level, Supabase and Bolt do a fantastic job. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Netlify deploy button one more time. And I want to show you what that looks like when you go to claim that in your Netlify account. Okay, so again, temporary viewing URL for the Netlify app, and the claim or transfer to your project. When we click this, I'm already logged into my Netlify account, and you'll see right here, I can claim this app. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to use up one of my seats right now. But when you claim this app, it just ingests it into Netlify. And then from there, you'll have this sort of connection inside of Bolt. Whenever you're making changes here in Bolt, you can quickly deploy this to Netlify and make those changes live for your live site. Huge red flag here is you at some point want to set up GitHub integration. This is that last mile, which Bolt hasn't. I know they're working on it. It's one of the highest rated features in their roadmap, but there's no revision system here, right? It's not connected to GitHub. It's not continuously deploying from or to GitHub and then deploying to your Netlify app. Eventually, what you would want to do, like I've done with the apps that I've taken fully online, again, like the podcast downloader and WP API Explorer, I have taken them off of Bolt proper and then brought them into Cursor and then connected them up to GitHub. That way I can make my edits and my changes in Cursor more long-term, but most importantly, give me that insurance policy of connecting up to GitHub. I can't imagine a world where Bolt doesn't do that very soon, because it's like the most obvious one. And it's actually one that would compete directly against Replit. Replit is another great tool that I've used. Actually use that for Pulse WP CC. Now everything's hosted there in my Replit environment. And that one just has everything baked in. So it has database, user authentication, the agent, version control connected right up to GitHub. It's like an Elementor for page building, whereas this is more, do I say Gutenberg? I don't want to say Gutenberg, but it's a little bit more lightweight, and you have to kind of know what you're doing to a degree when you're using Bolt. But you can always download this stuff. You can download it, open it up in StackBlitz, which is their other app. But really fun to start playing with this stuff and seeing how these two worlds collide, right? Long video. Thanks for sticking around. If you like Bolt, if you like what you saw today, go ahead and click on my referral link one more time. Gets me credits, gets you credits, and doesn't cost either of us a nickel. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you been using Bolt? Have you been using other solutions? What does your world look like with AI and WordPress? If you're an agency owner or freelancer, what does business look like for you? Let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.